Hello everyone, this is Lord Kurnion, and I am here with the first round of the Colonial Carnage GT. Sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. I'm a little sick right now. I just wanted to get this out. Just fair warning if I start sneezing or coughing or sniffling during this battle report. That's why. But I want to get this out. This first round sees me drawn up against Bretonnians, so let's get it kicked off. So here's my list if you haven't seen it before. Here's my opponent's list. He's taking Bretonnians. He has Lord on horse with Grail Vow, Grail Shield, the Sword of the Ladies Champion, which I think is he always wounds on a 3+ or better, and the Dawnstone. 1-up rerollable, 4-up ward, pretty survivable guy. He's also got a Lord on a horse with Heroic Killing Blow, Heartwood Lance, and Armor of Oglyph. Heartwood Lance I think is reroll to wound, but not positive. He also has a Prophetess level 4 Heavens with a Silver Mirror and Featherfoe Torque, which is 5-up ward versus enemy flyers. He's got a Paladin BSB on a horse with Gromwell Greathelm and the Sword of Might. So he has a 1-up rerollable as well. He also has a Damsel level 1 Beast with a Scroll and the Mane of Pure Breed, which is +1 strength for the horses. Going into core, he has 11 Knights of the Realm with full command in the Standard of Discipline, and that's where his Lord and his Prophetess was. He also has 9 Knights of the Realm with full command in Banner of the Eternal Flame. He has 11 Errants with full command in Banner of Shalons, which is +1 strength for the Errants, but it's also minus leadership, I believe, for the errantry, basically equivalent to a frenzy test, but without any of the benefits of frenzy. He also has 2 units of 10 bowmen with flaming shots. He has 2 units of 5 mounted yeomen, 3 pegs, and 2 trebuchets. So looking at this list, when I saw that I drew Brett's first round with mono Khorne Daemons, I was actually really excited because that's pretty much the best matchup I could possibly hope for. He has, pretty much all Bretonnians are going to run a character bus. They're going to go pretty character heavy. They're going to put 3 characters in the front rank, and I have a bunch of infantry that has Killing Blow, and there's Strength 4 Killing Blow in every turn that I don't charge. So not only do I have Killing Blow, his ward save then becomes worse because I'm only Strength 4. It's a really good matchup. I think the only thing I have to watch out for is I can't let 2 of his lances, especially 2 of his character lances, get thrown into one of my units of infantry at the same time. I think that would be pretty badly. That would end pretty badly. I also really want, obviously, to avoid the guy with the Heroic Killing Blow with my Bloodthirster. It's not that likely that I'll get it. I should, because he doesn't have the ASF sword, I should be able to kill him with my Bloodthirster before he gets a chance to swing. However, it's just not worth the risk, honestly. Yeah, so I want to keep my Bloodthirster away from him, try to bring down the Heroic Killing Blow lore with someone else, just because I just don't want to risk getting unlucky. I think my Lord can take out his Lord pretty well, but ideally I want my Bloodthirster attacking rank and file, because he just really kind of goes to town then. So going into deployment, going left to right for my opponent, he has that first unit is a unit of his, with the Banner Discipline, Knights of the Realm. With them he has the Lord with the Grail Vow and the Grail Shield. He also has his level 4 Heavens in there. Next to them he has his unit of Knights Errant with the Lord with Heroic Killing Blow, his BSB, and his level 1 Beasts. Next to them, going more towards center, he has a unit of 5 mounted yeomen, then a unit of 10 archers. Behind them he has 1 treb. Next to them he has his unit of 9 Knights of the Realm with Flaming Banner. Next to them a unit of Bretonnian archers, behind them a treb, then his peg knights, and then another unit of yeomen. Yep, so that's just an overview shot of his middle. So here's my side. I have my unit of 8 Furies. My Bloodthirster is there behind the hill. We were using true line of sight in this tournament, so the hill doesn't really help me. He's still direct fire because he can see me. It was weird to have true line of sight, and I think the results kind of, when I get to, I guess, when Joe and I talk about the general overview of the tournament, we'll talk about who won, and knowing that it's true line of sight, I think you can probably guess who did pretty well here. But anyway, I just kind of put him back there to kind of get him towards this force his knights to slow down in his turn. Then next to them I have my unit of 18 Bloodletters. Behind them is my Herald with a Hatred Locus. Next to the Bloodletters I have my second unit of Bloodletters. 23 of them. Both my units of Bloodletters are 5 wide. He's Bretonnian, he's in Lance formation, so he's only 3 wide. Consequently, I just didn't see any benefit to going more than 5 wide. So I made sure to go narrower with more ranks because there was going 6 wide or 7 wide or 8 wide wasn't going to benefit me. I wasn't going to get any more attacks against a lance that was 3 wide. So I just decided to stick to 5 wide there. Behind my unit of 23 bloodletters, I have my first skull cannon. Next to them, I have my unit of 1 unit of 5 fleshhounds. Behind that, I have my soul grinder. Behind those woods there, I have my unit of furies marked Khorne. Behind them, another skull cannon. And then on the far flank there, I have my second unit of fleshhounds. Okay, so after vanguards, he vanguards up his yeomen and his peg knights. And then obviously he prays. So I get first turn, and I started out with a couple charges. He moved a little bit too close, I think, with a couple of his units. So I started off with a charge with my 8 furies into his mounted yeoman. He decided to flee that. I needed like a 8, I believe, on that one. I then charged with my fleshhounds into his peg knights. I needed about a 9, and he decided to stand. I also charged with my furies into his other unit of yeomen, and they also needed a 9, and he stood that one as well. And I ended up making both of those 9 rolls. It was like a 9 or a 10, but I had swift stride, so I ended up making both of them, which was nice for me. Those dogs just kind of move around the woods. And then I didn't get a picture of this. Early morning, first game. I wasn't quite in the pattern of taking pictures, but my thirster moves more towards the center, across from his Knights of the Realm with Flaming Banner. My letters wheeled to face the left flank, both units, and my cannons aligned shots on the trebs. So we go into magic phase. I rolled Winds of Tzinch. I don't have any magic, so I just have to roll for the winds of bullshit. So I rolled Tzinch, which only hits him, fortunately. I hit the 1 unit of Knights Errant, and I ended up killing 2 of them. Then we go to shooting, and I fire both my cannons at his trebs, and both cannons misfire. 1 cannon rolled a misfire 3, or misfire 4, so it can't shoot this or next turn, and the other one rolled a misfire 6, so it just can't shoot this turn, and shoots next turn fine. Could have been worse. One of them could have blown up, but all things considered, going through my first turn and I didn't eliminate either of his trebuchets, I was a little bit nervous at this point because, he could land. I just had these terrible images in my head of a rock landing on my bloodthirster's head. So we go into combat. And he failed his fear test with these guys, despite being in night range of the Peg Knights. He was then, at that point, I just wiped the floor with him. I dropped the unit and I overran straight ahead, and I ended up right there. I didn't actually drop the whole unit. I think he had 1 or 2 guys left, but I ran him down. And then here, this combat didn't go as well as I expected. I ended up doing 3 wounds. I did 1 wound to the unit champion, and I did 2 more wounds to the unit. He also then did 3 wounds, which is a little bit more than I expected him to get. I'm strength 5, weapon skill 5. He is same initiative, but he doesn't have as many attacks. He's also strength 4. He's wounding on 4s. I mean, I thought I would go a little bit better than this. In total, I ended up doing 3. He ended up doing 3. I charged. He hits banner. He wins. Actually, it was just straight up push because he doesn't have a musician anymore because I killed the musician. Just straight up push. So obviously no take a break test, which is not what I was hoping for, but what can you do? So go to Bretonnian turn 1, and he charges in his Knights of the Realm, and they obviously make it pretty easily. Otherwise, these guys move up and turn to face towards my bloodletter blocks. And those unit of yeomen move up to block my bloodletters from turning to fully face his knights. So magic wasn't very eventful. I stopped him from casting Comet, and he failed to cast Chain Lightning, which is a little fortunate. We then go to shooting. 1 trebuchet aims at my Soul Grinder, and it scatters off. The other one aimed at my BSB, or my Herald on the throne. It hit. The center ended up hitting the chariot itself, and he failed to wound that, or either failed to wound or I passed my ward save, so that was nice. But he wounded the rider on top. I failed my ward save, and the rider up top takes a wound, which isn't ideal, but fortunately he has 2. And then combat, he charges in. He had a little bit of rubber lance syndrome. I did another 1 wound to the unit. He only did another 2 wounds to my Flesh Hounds on the charge. A little bit of rubber lance syndrome there. I ended up testing on, I believe it was a 6, and I somehow passed it, so that was nice. I'm down to 3 guys left, total of 5 wounds left in the unit. But they survived there and they stood there, which gives me an opportunity to countercharge in my turn. So we go to Demons of Chaos turn 2, and I start off with a charge of the Furies into one of his Trebs. And then my Bloodthirster and my Skull Cannon that can't shoot this turn charged in to this combat to help out the Fleshhounds. And then my smaller unit of Bloodletters charged into his Yeoman to clear them out. This unit of Fleshhounds also charged at his Peg Knights, and they needed, I think, an 8, and they failed. These unit of Furies just flew the short distance and then reformed into a line to chaff up both of these units of Knights, which I thought was pretty good. I think he made a mistake by putting them so close together in such a way that just one unit of Furies could chaff up both units really successfully. And then other remaining moves, my unit of 23 Bloodletters just reformed and moved towards his Knight blocks. My BSB moved up to keep up with them, and my Soul Grinder moved towards the middle. My cannon, magic was relatively uneventful. I believe I rolled a 7 here, so nothing happened. My cannon took a beeline for his remaining trebuchet. I shot, and I was able to drop it, so that was nice. I don't know why I'm showing that. Right, so we go to combat. He didn't challenge, which was a bit surprising, so my Bloodthirster just unloaded on the unit. I ended up killing 6 there. He did one wound back to my Fleshhounds. Or 2 wounds back to my Fleshhounds, rather. My Skull Cannon killed one of his Peg Knights with impact hits alone, so he was technically out of combat. All told, his unit of Knights is still steadfast, having 3 guys left. His unit of Pegs, though, were on Snake Eyes. They broke and ran away. The Skull Cannon, who had, through impact hits, dropped itself out of combat. It was technically out of combat, but it was allowed to overrun at that point, so it overran, but it wasn't chasing the Pegasus, because it was technically out of combat. Back here, the Furies attacked the Trebuchet and took it off the board, which was nice. And they reformed to face towards the Peg Knight and the Archers. Also, what happened here is when his Peg Knight broke, his Archers that were right there failed their panic test and ran off the board. And then these Bloodletters took out the chaffing Mounted Yeoman pretty easily. So we go to Bretonnian turn 2. Yes, it's only turn 2. Pretty quick game, it's moving pretty quickly. He charged both of his units, both of his lances, into my blocking Furies, and his Peg Knight rallied. Shooting was uneventful, or magic and shooting were pretty uneventful. He's been getting pretty low phases here. I'm usually able to stop the important spells. I think he got Ice Shard off on my Furies in this one, which didn't matter obviously at all. They were going to get taken off regardless. And then I was able to stop Comet. Shooting, he shot his 10 archers. They had turned around, and they shot at my Furies. They took off one of them. And then in combat, he just took off my Furies. So we go to Demons of Chaos turn 3. So this was a pretty big turn for me. I have both of his lances. I think he made a mistake with his reform. If you look, you can see that his back lance is completely unsupported. The one with his general is 100% unsupported. That front lance with the heroic killing blow guy cannot countercharge to support them if I charge into the back lance. So not needing a better invitation than that, I charge my Bloodthirster into them. He needs about a 7, so that's a pretty sure thing. The Fleshhounds are right behind them, so that even if he fails, I can chaff up his other Knight block, though, to prevent him from charging. I didn't want my Bloodthirster in there alone, though. And both my Bloodletters are not a sure thing charge. I think the closer unit needs an 8, the farther unit needs a 9 or a 10. So to stack my odds, I ended up charging both of them in there, figuring that although they're unlikely charges, if I charge both, one of them should make it. And fortunately, the farther one ended up rolling the 10 it needed, or the 9 it needed to get into combat. So because of that, I was able to put my Bloodthirster in combat with rank and file to make sure that my Bloodthirster can unload on his unit. Then otherwise, the dogs moved up to chaff, and the unit of Bloodletters obviously auto-failed their charge. The Soul Grinder also moved over to support in case he's needed, and so did the Fleshhounds. At the top of the picture, you can see that the Furies charged his remaining archers, and the cannon charged into the surviving Pegasus Knight. Magic was uneventful, and shooting I didn't think was worth it. It wasn't worth the risk of misfiring and blowing up my other cannon. So we go straight to combat. Impact hits alone, deal the last wound to the Pegasus Knight, and I'm able to make the overrun into this unit of archers. And then they are obviously blown up by combat here. So both my units reform at that point. Here, we go to combat. His Lord swings. He does a couple wounds to me. Then I stack as many attacks as I can from my bloodletters onto his general. I'm able to slip a killing blow in, and he fails his ward save. So I killing blowed his Lord. My Bloodthirster unloads and does 6 more wounds to the unit. He is no longer steadfast. He's on Snake Eyes. He breaks, and he's 6 inches away from the board right now. So if he rolls a 6 or under, he stays on. So I chased with my Bloodletters and tried to restrain my Bloodthirster. Unfortunately, I rolled a 12 on my Bloodthirster's restrain test, and they both had to chase, and they both ran off the board. So we go to Bretonnian turn 3. He's got only 1 lance left, which is, yeah, like I said, it was a pretty fast-paced game. I made a mistake here, though. If you can look carefully, you can see that he can just make the wheel past my Fleshhounds. There was a little bit of a careless move on my part. So he's able to make that wheel pass, and he charges into my Herald on the Skull Throne. He makes the charge pretty easily, and so we go straight to combat, or we go to Magic first, I guess. In Magic, he just 6 dice Savage Beast of Horrors in a bubble, but he fails to meet the casting value because he only has a level 1, and he needs 20 plus to cast it, so he wasn't able to get it off with even with 6 dice, which is a little lucky on my part. We go to combat, and I challenge with my hero. His Heroic Killing Blow guy swings at the chariot that he accepts the challenge, swings at the chariot that he's mounted on. Fortunately, he didn't get any Heroic Killing Blows off, and in return, I'm able to kill his Heroic Killing Blow guy between the attacks of the Herald riding it and the chariot itself, which was fortunate. He obviously stands on Steadfast, so we go into Demons of Chaos turn 4, and at this point the writing's a little bit on the wall, I think, and I just kind of pile everything into the combat here. Bloodthirster flies back onto the board and overlooks the combat of his minions. We go into combat, and yeah, it goes as well as you'd imagine it would. I take off most of the unit, he breaks from combat, and I run him down. So that was the end of the game. 20-0 to me. Great way to start round 1 of a GT. I was pretty happy with the performance. Like I said, I just think it was a really good matchup for me on paper, and I was able to play it pretty well to finish off the 20-0. So that's the first game. I hope you enjoyed it. Round 2 will be up shortly. Malasar should be posting his round 1 within the next day or 2 as well. So we'll keep posting like that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the report. Any comments or questions, post in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.